The knife pressed against Keisha's throat was so sharp she felt blood before she felt pressure. "Don't move," the voice whispered in her ear. "Don't scream. Don't even breathe too loud, or your son dies first." Keisha stood frozen in the nursery, James sleeping peacefully in his crib 3 feet away, completely unaware that death had entered his room. It had been 2 weeks since the fight. 2 weeks since she'd beaten Chang-ho and earned the council's acceptance. 2 weeks of healing ribs and fading bruises and thinking maybe, finally, they were safe. She'd been so stupid. The figure behind her moved closer, and Keisha caught a reflection in the window. A woman, masked, dressed in black, professionally lethal. "You took something that wasn't yours," the woman said. "Min-jun. The Empire. The future. All of it was promised to someone else. And now, you're going to pay for it." The knife pressed deeper. James stirred in his sleep. And Keisha realized with terrible clarity, this was Madame Chen's test. The real one. The one that would determine if she truly belonged in this world. Fight or surrender. Kill or be killed. Save herself or save her son. But she couldn't do both. Welcome back to True Soul Stories. If you watch part 2, then you already know things spiraled fast. But what happens next? Nobody is ready for it. Hit that subscribe button right now because this part reveals secrets that will change everything you thought you knew. Let's get into it. 3 hours earlier, Keisha woke to sunlight streaming through the windows of the Park Estate's master bedroom. Her bedroom now, though it still felt surreal. Min-jun was already gone. She'd heard him leave at dawn, called away for urgent business he couldn't discuss. That was becoming normal. The secret meetings, the cryptic phone calls, the weight he carried that he wouldn't share. But for the first time in months, Keisha felt almost peaceful. The council had accepted James. The formal presentation was behind them. The death match was won. Min-jun had moved her and James into his private residence. Not quite married, but publicly recognized as his consort and the mother of his heir. She rolled over to check the baby monitor. James was awake, babbling happily to himself in the nursery. "Morning, baby," she murmured, pulling on a robe. The estate was quiet. Most of the staff had been given the day off, some holiday she didn't fully understand yet. Only essential security remained, and they were discreet, invisible. Keisha padded down the hallway to the nursery, her body still aching from injuries that hadn't fully healed. 3 cracked ribs took time. So did the fractured cheekbone, the torn ligaments, the deep tissue bruising that painted her torso in purple and yellow. But she'd won. That was what mattered. She opened the nursery door, and James's face lit up when he saw her. "Hey, my little fighter," she cooed, lifting him from the crib. "You sleep okay?" He grabbed her face with his tiny hands, drooling happily. The normalcy of the moment made her chest ache. For just a second, she could pretend they were a regular family. A regular mom with a regular baby in a regular house. But the Glock 19 in her nightstand drawer said otherwise. So did the panic button installed in every room. So did the security cameras and armed guards in bulletproof windows. This was their normal now, and she was learning to accept it. "Let's get you fed," she said, carrying James toward the kitchen. That's when she noticed it. The security camera in the hallway was dark, not blinking red like usual. Just dead. Keisha's instincts, honed by 8 weeks of brutal training, screamed danger. She backed toward the nursery, reaching for the panic button on the wall. It didn't work. No alarm. No response. Nothing. Her heart started hammering. "Minji," she called out. Her trainer was supposed to be on duty today. "Hannah." Silence. Too much silence. Keisha moved quickly now, James pressed against her chest. She needed to get to the master bedroom, to the gun in her nightstand. She made it 3 steps. The woman appeared from nowhere, literally seemed to materialize from the shadows, and before Keisha could react, cold steel pressed against her throat. "Don't move. Don't scream. Don't even breathe too loud, or your son dies first." Now, Keisha's mind raced through her training. Minji's voice echoed. "If someone gets the drop on you with a knife, you have 3 seconds to act, or you're dead. What do you want?" Keisha kept her voice steady. "I want you to understand what you've taken." The woman's voice was cold, professional. "You waltzed into Min-jun's life, got pregnant, and destroyed carefully laid plans that took years to arrange. His ex-wife was trying to kill him. I saved his life. Did you? Or did you just rearrange who gets to kill him?" The knife pressed harder. A thin line of blood trickled down Keisha's neck. "You think you're safe now? You think the council accepting you means anything? Who sent you?" "Chang-ho." The Song family. Does it matter? There's a list of people who want you dead, Ms. Washington. I'm just the first one who got past your security. How did you? Your security is loyal to Min Jun. But Min Jun has enemies inside his own organization. People who think he's gone soft. People who think a black American maid and her half-breed son have no business in a Korean crime family. The slur hit like a physical blow, but Keisha kept her focus. James was awake now, sensing the tension, starting to fuss. If you're going to kill me, do it. But let me put my son down first. So he can watch his mother die? How maternal. So he doesn't get hurt when I fight back. The woman laughed. You think you can fight me? I've been doing this since before you were born. I beat Chong-ho. Chong-ho was an old man who relied on brute force. I'm something different. The woman leaned closer. But I'll give you credit. You've got balls. Stupid, suicidal balls, but balls nonetheless. Then let's make this fair. Let me put James in his crib. Then you and I can settle this. If you win, you complete your contract. If I win, you tell me who hired you. Why would I agree to that? Because you're a professional. And professionals have codes. Keisha was gambling now, reading the woman's tone, her body language. You could have killed me in my sleep. Could have smothered James in his crib. But you didn't. You woke me up first. You wanted me to know. That's personal, not professional. Silence. Then the knife pressure eased slightly. You're smarter than you look. I get that a lot. Fine. Put the brat down. Then we dance. But know this. I won't hold back because you're injured or because you're a mother. In my world, sentiment gets you killed. In my world too, Keisha said quietly. She moved slowly to the crib, placing James down gently. He started crying immediately, sensing something was wrong. Mama's okay, baby, she whispered. Mama's okay. She turned to face her attacker. The woman had removed her mask. She was Korean, maybe 40, with a scar running down her left temple and eyes that had seen too much death to care about one more. I'm Hae-won, the woman said, knife held loosely, professionally. And you should know, I've killed 17 people. You'll be 18. I'm Keisha, and I've killed exactly 0 people. Keisha dropped into the fighting stance Minji had drilled into her. But I beat the shit out of Chong-ho, so let's see how this goes. Hae-won smiled, a cold, predator's smile. I'm going to enjoy this. She struck. Fast. So fast Keisha barely tracked the movement. The knife slashed toward her face, and she jerked back, felt the blade whisper past her cheek. Hae-won flowed into a second strike, low, aiming for Keisha's injured ribs. Keisha blocked, felt the impact jar through her already damaged bones, and bit back a scream. Those ribs still hurt, don't they? Hae-won circled, knife dancing. Chong-ho did a number on you. Made my job easier. She struck again, a faint high that turned into a slash low. Keisha barely avoided it, the knife cutting through her robe, drawing blood across her hip. First blood, Hae-won taunted. How many more until you drop? Keisha didn't answer. She was remembering training. Minji's words. Asterisk against a knife. You need to control the weapon or create distance. Everything else is suicide. Asterisk. Control or distance. Those were her options. Hae-won lunged, a committed strike aimed at Keisha's throat. Keisha moved inside the attack, accepting a shallow cut to her shoulder to grab Hae-won's knife hand. Got it. For 1 second, she had control. Then Hae-won's other hand came up in a vicious uppercut that caught Keisha under the chin, snapping her head back. Stars exploded in her vision. Her grip loosened. Hae-won ripped her knife hand free and drove her knee into Keisha's injured ribs. The pain was blinding. Keisha went down, gasping, seeing spots. Pathetic, Hae-won said, standing over her. You're exactly what everyone says. A lucky amateur who got in one good fight. But luck runs out. She raised the knife for a killing blow. James's crying reached a fever pitch, and something in Keisha snapped. She wasn't going to die in a nursery while her son watched. Wasn't going to let some hired killer rob James of his mother. Wasn't going to let all the pain, all the training, all the fighting be for nothing. As the knife came down, Keisha rolled. The blade struck the floor where her chest had been. She kept rolling, grabbed the lamp from the side table, and swung it with everything she had. The lamp connected with Hae-won's knee, a wet crack of bone breaking. Hae-won screamed and stumbled. Keisha surged to her feet, ignoring her ribs, ignoring the cuts, ignoring everything except the need to survive. She drove her fist into Hae-won's throat, not hard enough to kill, but hard enough to disrupt breathing, to create an opening. Then she grabbed Hae-won's knife hand again, this time with both hands, and slammed it against the crib railing. Once, twice, 3 times. The knife clattered to the floor. Both women lunged for it. Keisha got there first, but Haewon tackled her, and they rolled across the floor, fighting for control. Haewon got on top, her hands around Keisha's throat. Should have taken the easy death. Haewon gasped, blood streaming from her nose. Now it's going to hurt. Keisha couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The edges of her vision turned dark. She thought of James, thought of Min-jun, thought of her grandmother who'd raised her to be strong, and she stopped trying to pry Haewon's hands away. Instead, she drove her thumbs into Haewon's broken knee. The assassin howled and her grip loosened. Keisha sucked in air and bucked her hips, throwing Haewon off balance. They separated, both gasping, both bleeding, both refusing to quit. You're tougher than expected, Haewon admitted, limping on her broken knee. But tough isn't enough. I'm trained. I'm experienced. And I'm getting paid too much to fail. Then you should have asked for more money. Keisha shot back. Because I'm not dying today. They circled each other, both looking for an opening. Haewon moved first, a desperate lunge despite her injured knee. Keisha sidestepped and grabbed Haewon's hair, using the momentum to slam the woman's face into the wall. Once, twice, 3 times. Haewon dropped, dazed but not unconscious. Keisha grabbed the knife from the floor, stood over her attacker, the woman who'd come to kill her, to kill James, to end everything they'd built. Do it, Haewon gasped through broken teeth. Finish it. That's what they do in this world. No mercy, no prisoners. Keisha's hand trembled. This was it, the real test, the one Madame Chun had warned her about. Kill or show mercy. Become what this world demanded or hold on to who she was. Who hired you? Keisha demanded. Go to hell. Tell me, or I slit your throat right here. Haewon laughed, blood bubbling. You won't. You're not a killer. You're a mother playing dress-up in a killer's world. You're right, Keisha said quietly. I'm not a killer, but I'm a mother. And you threatened my son. She pressed the knife against Haewon's throat, not cutting, but close. Last chance. Who hired you? Haewon's eyes showed fear for the first time. You're serious. Dead serious. Pun intended. It was someone inside the park organization. I don't have a name. Just a middleman. A phone number. A wire transfer. Haewon coughed blood. That's the truth. I swear. Why? Why hire you to kill me? Because they think you're Min-jun's weakness. Because they think a half-black heir will divide loyalties. Because they want the old ways back. Haewon's smile was bitter. You think beating Chang-ho proved something? All you proved was that you're dangerous. And dangerous outsiders don't last long in this world. Footsteps pounded down the hallway. Keisha, Min-jun's voice, frantic. The door burst open. Min-jun, Minji, and 4 security guards flooded in, weapons drawn. They froze at the scene. Keisha standing over a bleeding Haewon, knife in hand, blood covering them both. James screaming in his crib. Min-jun's face went white. What happened? An assassin got past your security, Keisha said, her voice surprisingly steady. She's alive. For now. But she needs to answer more questions before we decide what happens next. Keisha, Min-jun started. Don't. She looked at him, and he saw something in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Something harder. Colder. Don't apologize. Don't make excuses. Just tell me the truth. How did someone get past your security? How did the cameras go down? How did the panic buttons fail? Min-jun's jaw tightened. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Not good enough. Keisha dropped the knife and moved to the crib, lifting James into her arms. He immediately quieted, burying his face in her neck. Someone inside your organization hired her. Someone wants me dead. Wants our son dead. And until we know who, none of us are safe. I'll handle it. No, we'll handle it. Together. She turned to face him fully. I'm not your protected secret anymore. I'm not the helpless mother you need to shelter. I just beat a professional assassin in hand-to-hand combat while protecting our son. I earned my place in this world. So stop treating me like I'm fragile. Min-jun stared at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. You're right. I'm sorry. Don't be sorry. Be honest. She looked at the security team. Get her medical attention. Then lock her in the secure room. I want to question her myself when she's stable. The guards exchanged glances, looking to Min-jun for confirmation. He nodded. Do what she says. They moved to collect Haewon, who was unconscious now from blood loss. When they were alone, just Min-jun, Keisha, and James, the adrenaline finally crashed. Keisha's legs gave out. Minjun caught her, and she collapsed into his arms, shaking. I almost died, she whispered. We almost died. James almost. But you didn't. He held her tighter. You fought. You won. You protected our son. I'm so tired, Minjun. So tired of fighting. Of looking over my shoulder. Of wondering when the next threat is coming. I know. I'm sorry. This life is the only life we have. She pulled back to look at him. So we need to change the rules. Need to find out who's trying to destroy us and eliminate them before they try again. That could mean war within the organization. Then we go to war. Her voice was steel. I didn't beat Chong-ho and survive an assassin just to spend the rest of my life scared. Our son deserves better. We deserve better. Minjun cupped her face. When did you become so fierce? When I became a mother. She kissed him, hard and desperate. And when I fell in love with a man whose world demands fierceness to survive. They held each other while James dozed between them. A small family in a big, dangerous world, surrounded by enemies they couldn't see. But they were still standing, still fighting, still together. If you're still watching, drop a comment below saying, Keisha is a fighter, and hit that like button because this woman is unstoppable. But we're not done yet. This story is about to get even crazier. 2 days later, Haewon sat in the secure interrogation room, her leg in a cast, her face swollen and bruised. But her eyes were still sharp, still calculating. Keisha entered alone, despite Minjun's protests. You came, Haewon said. Brave or stupid? I haven't decided yet. Keisha sat across from her. I need answers. Real answers. Not the half-truths you gave me while bleeding out. Why would I tell you anything? Because you're going to die either way. The question is whether you die with honor or as a traitor to your profession. Keisha leaned forward. You said you were hired by someone inside the park organization. Give me a name. Give me proof. And I'll make sure your family is taken care of. Refuse, and they suffer the consequences of your failure. Haewon's eyes widened. You researched me. I learned fast. You have a sister in Taegu. A nephew with a heart condition. They depend on the money you send home. Keisha kept her voice flat, emotionless. Help me, and they're protected. Defy me, and they're cut off. Choose. You're bluffing. Am I? Keisha pulled out her phone, showed Haewon a photo of her sister and nephew. I had 12 hours to learn everything about you. How long do you think it'll take me to destroy them? Haewon stared at the photo, her expression cracking. You really have changed. This world changed me. Now talk. Silence stretched. Then Haewon sighed. The middleman goes by the name Ghost. I don't know his real identity, but he works inside the park organization, high up, with access to security protocols. That's how I got past your guards. Ghost, Keisha repeated. That's not much. It's all I have. He contacts people through encrypted channels. Pays in crypto. Leaves no traces. Haewon leaned back. But I can tell you this. He's been planning this for months. You weren't his first target. There've been others. 3 accidents in the past 6 months, all people loyal to Minjun. What kind of accidents? Car crashes. Suicides. 1 convenient heart attack. Haewon smiled grimly. Someone's trying to weaken Minjun's power base. Kill his supporters. Isolate him. And you're just the latest target. Why me? Because you're his weakness. His humanity. The thing that makes him vulnerable. Haewon's voice dropped. The old guard doesn't want a leader with a heart. They want a monster. And you make Minjun human. Keisha sat back, processing. How do I find Ghost? You don't. He finds you. But if you really want to draw him out. Haewon hesitated. You give him a target he can't resist. What kind of target? The council meeting next week. Every family will be there. Ghost will make his move then, when the chaos of so many people provides cover. Haewon met her eyes. You want to catch him? Be there. Be visible. Be the bait. That's suicide. Maybe. Or maybe it's your only chance to end this before he kills everyone you love one by one. Keisha stood. I'll think about it. One more thing. Haewon called as Keisha reached the door. Your son, James. He's beautiful. I saw him before I attacked. Keisha's blood ran cold. If you're threatening him. I'm not. I'm telling you to protect him. Because Ghost? He doesn't share my code. He'll kill a baby without blinking. And if you don't stop him at that council meeting, your son won't see his first birthday. The door closed behind Keisha, leaving Haewon alone with her thoughts and her broken leg. Outside, Minjun waited. Did you get what you needed? More than I wanted. Keisha filled him in on everything. When she finished, Minjun's face was stone. You're not being bait. Absolutely not. It's the only way to draw Ghost out. I'll be the bait. He wants me dead, not you. If you're the target, he'll just send another assassin. But if I'm there, vulnerable, he'll come himself to finish the job. Keisha grabbed his arms. This is how we end it. This is how we make sure James is safe. Or this is how you die. Then train me better. We have 5 days until the council meeting. Make me ready. Min Jun wanted to argue. She could see it in his eyes. But he also saw the determination in hers. The steel that hadn't been there 6 months ago. Okay, he finally said. But we do this my way. My team. My protocols. You don't make a move without my approval. Fine. As long as we catch Ghost and end this. We will. He pulled her close. But if anything happens to you, if you die trying to protect James, then you raise our son to know his mother loved him enough to fight for his future. You raise him to be strong and kind and better than this world we've brought him into. She looked up at him. Promise me. I promise. But you're not dying. I won't allow it. You can't control everything, Min Jun. Watch me. The council meeting, 5 days later. The grand ballroom of the Shilla Hotel was filled with the most powerful criminals in Asia. Every family, every territory, every organization represented. Hundreds of people, all of them dangerous. And somewhere among them, Ghost waited. Keisha stood beside Min Jun, wearing a dress that cost more than her old car, looking every inch the Mafia consort. But underneath the elegant facade, she wore a bulletproof vest. In her purse, a Glock 19. On her wrist, a panic button disguised as a bracelet. Min Jun had spent 5 days turning her into a weapon. Now it was time to see if it was enough. He's here, Min Jun murmured. I can feel it. So can I. Keisha scanned the crowd, looking for anything off. Anyone who didn't belong. The problem was that everyone here looked dangerous. Everyone here could be Ghost. Madam Chun called the meeting to order. We gathered to discuss territory disputes, revenue sharing, and the unfortunate incident involving Lee Chong-ho. The formal business began. Keisha barely listened. She was watching, waiting. An hour passed. Then 2. Nothing. Maybe Haewon had been wrong. Maybe Ghost wouldn't. The lights went out. Screams erupted. Gunfire cracked in the darkness. Min Jun grabbed Keisha, pulling her down behind a table. Stay low. More gunfire. The sound of bodies hitting the floor. Chaos in the dark. Then emergency lights kicked in, casting everything in red. Keisha looked up and saw him. A man in a server's uniform, standing at the back of the room, a gun pointed directly at her. Not at Min Jun. At her. Their eyes met across the chaos. He smiled. And fired. Now I need you to do something for me. Smash that subscribe button right now because part 4 is going to reveal Ghost's identity and you will not believe who it is. Comment, protect Keisha, below if you're invested in this story. Hit that like button to show support. Because what happens next? It's going to change everything. The bullet time slowed, and in that frozen moment, Keisha saw everything clearly. Min Jun diving to push her out of the way. Minji rushing from the side. Security guards finally reacting. Ghost fingers squeezing the trigger. And she realized there was no time. The bullet was going to hit someone. Her or Min Jun. One of them was about to die. She made her choice. Keisha pushed Min Jun away instead of letting him shield her. The bullet hit her in the chest. The bulletproof vest caught it, but the impact felt like being hit by a truck. She went down hard, all the air crushed from her lungs. Through the pain, she saw Ghost running for the exit. Saw him escaping. Saw him getting away. Not this time. Keisha forced herself up, ignoring Min Jun's shouts, ignoring her screaming body, and ran. She caught Ghost at the service elevator. He spun, surprised, raising his gun. She was faster. The Glock from her purse came up, and she fired. Not to kill, to wound, to stop him without death. The bullet hit his shoulder. He dropped his weapon, stumbling. Keisha closed the distance and drove her knee into his stomach. He went down gasping. She ripped off his mask and froze. The face looking up at her was young, maybe 30, Korean, familiar in a way she couldn't place. Who are you? She demanded, gun trained on his head. He smiled through the pain. I'm nobody, just a messenger. Whose messenger? Someone who's been watching you. Someone who's been waiting for the right moment. Someone you're about to meet. Footsteps behind her. Min Jun and security arriving. But Ghost's smile widened. You think you won? You think catching me solves anything? I'm just the first wave. The real war hasn't even started. What are you talking about? Your son, James. He's not safe. Not now. Not ever. Because the person who wants him dead? Ghost laughed, blood on his teeth. She's been dead for 20 years. And she's coming back to claim what's hers. Who? Keisha grabbed him. Who are you talking about? Min Jun's mother. She's alive. And she's angry. Min Jun went white. That's impossible. My mother died when I was 5. Did she? Ghost's eyes glittered with madness. Or did your father tell you she was dead because the truth was too dangerous? Because she was too dangerous? You're lying, Min Jun said, but his voice shook. Am I? Then explain this. Ghost pulled out a photo from his pocket with his good hand. Min Jun took it with trembling fingers. Keisha looked over his shoulder and felt her world tilt. The photo showed a black woman, stunning, powerful, standing beside a young Min Jun who couldn't have been more than 4. She had her hand on his shoulder, and the love in her eyes was unmistakable. Mom, Min Jun whispered. She's been in exile for 25 years. Your father banished her for refusing to follow orders. For choosing love over duty. For being weak. Ghost's smile was cruel. But she's back now. And she wants revenge. Starting with your half-breed son. The word hit like a slap. Keisha pressed the gun harder against his head. Where is she? Close. Closer than you think. She's been watching James grow. Watching you play house. Waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Why tell us this? Because I'm not the only one she sent. Because while you've been chasing me, others have been moving into position. Because. He coughed blood. Because she wanted you to know. Wanted you to feel the fear. Wanted you to understand that you can't protect what she wants dead. Security guards yanked Ghost away, dragging him to a holding area. Keisha turned to Min Jun. Your mother is alive? I don't know. My father said she died of cancer when I was 5. I barely remember her. His hand shook on the photo. But this is real. This is her. And if she's alive, if she's been hidden all this time, then your father lied to you for 25 years. And if he lied about this, what else did he lie about? They stood in the service hallway, the sounds of chaos still echoing from the ballroom, holding a photo that changed everything. We need to get to James, Keisha said urgently. If she sent Ghost, if she's really coming for him. I already sent extra security. He's locked down. Min Jun pulled out his phone, dialed. But we need to confront my father. Now. Get answers before. The phone rang. And rang. And rang. No answer. He always answers. Min Jun said, fear creeping into his voice. Min Jun. We need to go? To his compound. Something's wrong. They ran. Mangun's father's compound. 30 minutes later. The gates were open. That was the first sign. The guards were missing. That was the second. And the front door stood ajar, darkness beyond. This is a trap, Minji warned, her gun drawn. I don't care. Min Jun moved forward. If my father's in danger, if my mother really is alive and here, then we go in smart, Keisha interrupted. Not reckless. They entered slowly, a security team flanking them. The house was silent. Too silent. They found Min Jun's father in his study, sitting at his desk, very much alive and looking completely unsurprised to see them. I was wondering when you'd figure it out, he said calmly. Figure what out? Min Jun demanded. That you've been lying to me for 25 years? That my mother is alive. Alive and well. In fact, he gestured to the shadows. She's here. A woman stepped into the light. She was in her 60s now, but still striking. Black, elegant, with Min Jun's eyes and a presence that commanded the room. Hello, son, she said softly. I've missed you. Min Jun staggered back like he'd been shot. Mom, I know this is a shock. I know you have questions. But first, she looked at Keisha with eyes that held no warmth. I need to see my grandson. Over my dead body, Keisha said immediately. The woman smiled. That can be arranged. This is True Soul Stories, and what you just witnessed is only the beginning. Part 4 is going to reveal why Min Jun's mother was hidden, what she really wants, and whether Keisha and James survive what's coming next. Comment Part 4 if you need to know what happens. Hit subscribe, hit like, and prepare yourself. Because the real war, it's just beginning.